If you're looking to activate that wildcard in Game Week 27, don't worry, I've got you covered with the ultimate team in today's video. Before we dive into today's video, I just want to say that we're trying to hit 5,000 subscribers by the end of the season, so if you want to help me hit that goal, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Obviously, that being the main one that's going to help us achieve this goal by the end of the season. Before we do get into the team, I just wanted to say, if I was wildcarding this week, which I'm not, but if I was, I think I would be waiting at least until Wednesday, Thursday, until we know which teams are going to be blanking and which teams are going to be playing in that game week. I feel it makes a lot more kind of decision making about free hit strategy, because the team currently that I've built would require a free hit if those teams that obviously feature in the video do blank in game week 29. But as you can see, there are currently 3 fixtures taking place that week: West Ham, Aston Villa, Fulham, Tottenham, Burnley and Brentford. But as you can see on the bottom, those are the FA Cup fixtures, and I think for me the big one that could definitely have a massive swing, especially on this team, would be the Chelsea one. They're obviously taking on Leeds United. Leeds have just beaten Leicester City in the league to go, you know, I think it's like 4 or 5 points behind them, second place in the Championship. So, you know, it's not going to be an easy task for Chelsea as well to go and obviously go from potentially maybe losing that Carabao Cup final, maybe winning it, who knows, I'm filming this beforehand, so getting themselves back up or remotivating for that Leeds game could be extremely tough. So I think that could be a fixture that could have a lot of bearing on obviously the wild card for this week. Luton Forest as well, we've obviously got some Luton players in here with the double coming up for them, so if either of those teams fall out and then that becomes a fixture, again, probably looking less likely at free hitting in 29, but that's kind of just something I wanted to point out before we go and dive into today's team. Like I said, if you do use this team that I have built in today's video, at the moment it would require a free hit in 29, but that could all change over the next few days, so do keep your eyes peeled on those FA Cup results. Wasting no time and diving straight into the team, we're going to start off with our goalkeeper. It's going to be Areola. Now, it's an interesting one with the goalkeepers this season. There aren't too much kind of quality goalkeepers. It seems like they go through spells where they pick up points, then they drop points, then they pick up points. It's a really weird year for goalkeepers, and I don't think there's any kind of goalkeeper that is the set pick. I've gone for Areola. He's nice and cheap. He plays pretty much every single week. Also, if the free hit doesn't become available in 29, like we spoke about in the last section, if certain fixtures do obviously swing in our favour with the rest of this team, it would mean you do have a playing goalkeeper in game week 29. Obviously, as you can see, we do have Kaminsky on the bench as well. He's there for the double in game week 28, and you know what? Luton don't have some like awful fixtures as well coming up after that. Nottingham Forest in 29, again, that potentially could be one that could happen. You know, then after that, both goalkeepers do go through a little bit of a tricky spell, but like I said, goalkeepers this year, they're just not pulling up like trees, are they? There's no goalkeeper that's absolutely, like, by and large, the best or the clear goalkeeper to go for. They all seem to pick up saves and clean sheets very sporadically. Even Edison at times this year, you know, some of the best goalkeepers. I think Raya potentially could be a shout, but we do have an Arsenal defender in this team, so maybe if you wanted to go for that Arsenal double up, that is always an opportunity. They are up there as the best team for XG conceded over the past 5 game weeks, so Raya potentially could be an option, but we've gone for cheap and cheerful in Areola and Kaminsky in there for the double. Right, let's move on into the back line. We're going to obviously start off with Gabriel. A threat from set pieces, a threat just overall across the pitch as well. Like I spoke about in the last section, or just with the goalkeepers then, Arsenal are 5th for XG conceded. They've got one of the best defences in the Premier League right now. It seems like, you know, they're not conceding many goals. Obviously, they did concede against Newcastle yesterday, but I think it was 0.18 XG Newcastle accumulated over that whole game. So you have to feel very unfortunate if you are an Arsenal defender owner, because you definitely should have come away with at least a clean sheet in that one. Like we spoke about, Arsenal still do have the probability of featuring in game week 29 with Chelsea, but up the upcoming fixtures, Sheffield United and Brentford in game week 27 and 28. City in 30, a little bit difficult, but then the run does kind of tail back off to Luton, Brighton and Aston Villa. So definitely a team I would be looking to target, with them obviously challenging for the title. I do feel Gabriel and Saliba are both pretty much nailed. They're going to start a lot of Premier League games, especially with the run-in coming up until the Premier League title. I feel these both both of these guys are absolutely exceptional players to potentially go and grab in your team. Right, let's move on to our next defender, and it's going to be Levi Colwill. Now, interestingly, Chelsea actually have some pretty good fixtures. Now, obviously, they don't play in blank game week 29, and that's why I've said you probably are going to have to free hit if certain fixtures don't go this way. But other than that, they've got Brentford, Newcastle, then the blank, then Burnley, Manchester United, Sheffield United, and Everton. It's a really solid run. Obviously, Chelsea this year, defensively, haven't looked the best, but if you look at the data, they're up there as one of the top 10 teams in the league for XG conceded. Levi Colwill as well can play a variety of positions, nice and cheap at 4.5 million. I had him earlier in the season. It didn't quite work out, but you know what? I think I might potentially be going and taking a look at potentially getting him back in the team, because those are some absolutely stellar fixtures coming up for a Chelsea side. Hopefully they're looking to kind of tail off this season, do exceptionally well, and just finish it really strong. Brentford as well have not been a good team recently. They're not winning many games. They're conceding lots of opportunities. I think if the Premier League was a little bit stronger this year, I would be considering them as a potential relegation candidate, but it does seem like the bottom 3-4 teams are kind of, you know, just adrift of Brentford at the moment, but they still could get dragged into it. You know, they've got some difficult games coming up, not an easy run in for them. So yeah, I definitely think they would be a team I would be starting to target, to be honest. So yeah, Levi Colwill, he's our next defender. Moving on to a man who has arguably one of the best fixture runs in the Premier League. It is Bournemouth. It is Sensei. Obviously, Burnley away in game week 27. A great fixture, one that I would always be looking to target. Then the double with Sheffield United and Luton. No game in game week 29, but again, that could all change. Game week 30, they play Everton, Crystal Palace, and Luton. So what a run. What a run that is. If they can get that fixture in 29 as well, it would be absolutely incredible to go for these Bournemouth players, to be honest, because that is one of the best Premier League runs you're going to see. Obviously, on the flip side of that, Bournemouth are 7 without a win, sorry. So, you know, they're not in the best of form at the moment, but their performances on pitch and the data that they're putting up is still pretty impressive. Senesi as well can pop up with the odd goal. You would expect a couple of clean sheets in there as well. So I think for 4.5 million, I don't think you can go wrong with this pick. Some of the best fixtures in the league, a double game week. If they can get that blank game week fixture as well, I do think it is definitely a good transfer to go for. Obviously, Neto as well could be a potential option if you wanted to go for that double Bournemouth defence, but I probably wouldn't. They are a mid-table side, so I wouldn't be expecting them to keep clean sheets every single week. Right, let's move on to our midfield. We're going to start off with Pedro Neto. I am filming this before the Wolves game has taken place, so if he does pick up an injury, excuse me or whatever, or if Hwang pops off and Neto doesn't, then obviously go for Hwang. Wolves have got some interesting fixtures coming up. They've got Newcastle away, which obviously is a red in the ticker, but Newcastle's form recently is abysmal. They're currently sat 20th for XG conceded as well. Then Fulham, then obviously the blank against Bournemouth. That could happen, that might not happen. Villa in 30, not the easiest game, but then 31, 32 and 33. Burnley, West Ham and Nottingham Forest. So some really, really high quality fixtures in there. If you've obviously got a bench that can rotate in and out, you've got players that can come in and out of this squad as well. I think going for a Wolves player, maybe even a Wolves defender as well, could be a really good avenue. You know, just rotating him, bringing him in for the good games, taking him out for the bad games, because, you know, they do seem like Gary O'Neill's got that side ticking at the moment. He can even put in good performances against the top tier sides as well. They're very good on the counter. Pedro Neto especially very good on the counter. So even when they do play teams like Aston Villa or the more difficult games, I don't think I'd be shy away from playing players like Pedro Neto, to be honest. He has got the higher creative kind of output over Hwang. Hwang seems like he's more of just the natural finisher, kind of fox in the box vibe, whereas Pedro Neto is the key creator. 0.75 expected assists for him over per 90 so far this season, sorry. So a very, very good asset to go and buy in your team, like I said, with the fixtures coming up for Wolves. Right, let's move on to a little bit of a controversial pick, but I don't think it is too controversial. It is going to be Cole Palmer. Now, again, like I said, this team is built in mind with a free hit in 29. But that could very easily change if Leeds do go and beat Chelsea. It's very possible that that could happen. But I think Cole Palmer is one of the best assets in the game, especially for his price point. We spoke about Brentford's poor form. Newcastle in 29 as well. They're the highest, like I said, for XG conceded. So again, very good fixtures. Then the fixtures post that are pretty good as well. Burnley United, Sheffield United, and Everton as well. And Cole Palmer on penalties, 11 goals for him so far this season. He has been Chelsea's best player. If I was to go and get any Chelsea player, it would be go and get Cole Palmer, because he just represents amazing value for what he is. He realistically should be like a 7.5, 8 million pound midfielder. He probably will be next year, but he's absolutely insane this year for the bargain bottom price he is. He's a great enabler, allows you to go and potentially go and get people like Salah when he's back fit and firing. So I think it's a really, really good pick to go and get Cole Palmer, especially if you can maybe avoid going without the free hit in 29, or if you are looking to free hit in 29, I probably would have Cole Palmer on my wildcard draft. Moving on to Son, our next midfielder. He obviously has some pretty good fixtures coming up with Spurs. They do feature in 29 already. They take on Fulham away. Crystal Palace at home, I think it's going to be an interesting one. Obviously, they've got their new manager Bounce, a 3-1, was it? Or a 3-0 win over Burnley yesterday. So we'll have to see how they fare against a much better Villa side. Luton after that in game week 30, West Ham in 31, Nottingham Forest in 32, and Newcastle in 33. I think Son is a very easy hold up until that game week 33. Then their fixtures do take a big drastic turn. I think they have to play like City, Arsenal, Liverpool, all back-to-back. So that's probably the point where I would look to sell Son. But with a fixture in 29, like I said, if the rest of the fixtures fall in place, he probably would be one of the best captaincy options to go for on that free hit. He's a great natural finisher as well. We've seen he's got that capability, and they are playing some of the worst defences in the league. The likes of West Ham, the likes of Newcastle, the likes of Luton, and surprisingly, even Fulham are down there for XG conceded as well. So you would expect him to have a little bit of a pop. Offers himself up as a good captaincy option as well. Finishing up to our final midfielder, and I think someone who potentially could be your captain for this week. It is Bukayo Saka, a man in form at the moment. The past 5 game weeks for him have been absolutely phenomenal in terms of points. Another goal for him yesterday as well. It looks like he has reclaimed his penalty spot as well off Martin Odegaard. We spoke about the fixtures coming up. They're pretty decent. Sheffield United as well, with Haaland not looking the best or the sharpest or kind of at the races yet. I think Saka, the form that he's in, the ability that he's showing, he definitely should be a captaincy shout against arguably the worst team the Premier League has seen for a few years in Sheffield United. I think if I was wildcarding, he would be one of the first names I would be looking to go and get on my wildcard draft. Moving on to the front line, we just briefly spoke about him. It is Erling Haaland. Now, interestingly, I spoke about this in the transfer target section. The fixtures coming up for City are pretty bad. United, the derby, I think that one could go either way. He could very easily go and score in that one. Then Liverpool, then a blank, sorry. Then Arsenal, then Villa. Like, that is a ridiculously hard run of 5 games. There definitely is the narrative that you could go without Erling Haaland for the next few weeks. You could utilise the budget, you know, spread it around over the next few weeks and go without him. There is that option to potentially have. Make sure you obviously do have a way to go and get back to him, because City's fixtures after that do start to pick up. But for the next 5 game weeks, with a blank and difficult fixtures, I think you are going to be looking for alternative captains during this price point. That's why we've got Son and Saka in here, but I think you very easily could go without Erling Haaland. I put him in here at the moment because I do feel like a lot of people will just go for him, keep him, and that makes complete sense. He is one of the most owned players in the game. He is very good. His per 90 data is absolutely ridiculous. He does just pick up goals and assists for fun, but I think with the fixtures taking a turn, there is that slight probability that I think you potentially could go without him. Let me know what you think about that in the comments section. Moving on to a man who can't stop scoring over the past 5 game weeks. It is Ollie Watkins, absolutely killing it. 4 goals, 3 assists, a goal and assist for him against Nottingham Forest. Luton away up next, then Spurs next week. I wouldn't even be concerned about that. Again, he's got a fixture in 29 with West Ham, so again, if the fixtures do turn, potentially could save you on that free hit. Then Wolves, then City, but I like even the fixture turn in there. I think he could be a player I would want to hold up until maybe the end of the season. He's a great asset, isn't he? Look at the attacking returns he's got so far. I think now he's at 30 goal contributions in 26 games for the Premier League season. Absolutely ridiculous from Ollie Watkins. He is the second best striker option in the Premier League and should be in your wildcard draft. Right, let's move on to our final player, and it is, of course, going to be Dominic Solanke. We spoke about it with Senesi. The fixtures for Bournemouth are absolutely ridiculous. Double game week as well, Sheffield United and Luton. You feel if you've not played that triple captainship, that could be a golden moment for you. He probably is going to be the second or maybe even the first most captain player that week as well, because both of those fixtures are absolutely absolutely immense. 2 goals, 2 assists for him over the past 5 game weeks. Had some opportunities against Manchester United as well on penalties. Usually plays pretty much 90 minutes as well. Got a double game week. If you can get a fixture in 29, I think he would be above Watkins as the second best striker option, because just purely down to the fixtures, purely down to that double game week, and if he can feature in the blank as well, would be absolutely insane. That was the team. Let's have a quick run through of the bench. We spoke about Kaminsky, obviously the double coming up for Luton. We've gone for Garnacho. I think he's a fantastic enabler for Manchester United. Again, they might have a fixture in 29. They would take on Sheffield United if that was the case. Everton, though, in 28, still a pretty good fixture. Brentford, Chelsea, Liverpool, afterwards Bournemouth. You know, there's some pretty good fixtures. And for 5 million, I don't think you can go wrong. It seems like he is first choice in Ten Hag's side. He does create plenty of opportunities, also gets some opportunities as well. I do think there is a potential for another double-digit haul out of Garnacho this season. The other 2 players, we've obviously got Doherty in here for the double. I know he's been frustrating his owners, me being one of them, but a double game week coming up. He takes all the corners and free kicks, so I think it is just a matter of time before an attacking return does actually take place. And then Charlie Taylor, 3.9 million for him. He's just going to sit third sub most weeks. We might play him against like the likes of Sheffield United or Bournemouth, but like other than that, probably not. He's just going to sit there third sub, not eat up too much budget. So that's kind of the plan with him. If you do have any questions about your team, get them in the comments. If you've got any questions about Wildcard as well this week, get those in the comments. Like I said at the top of the video, we are trying to hit 5,000 subscribers on the channel. So if you do want to help me hit that goal, be sure to like, comment and subscribe. But thank you very much for watching today, ladies and gentlemen, and good luck this game week.